welcome to the 2025 Filofax setup video. I plan to have this out between Christmas and New Year's, but I really did not take into account how long this would take to edit. So I hope that this is still useful to you. I think we're still early enough into the year that this is helpful. So here we go. I've got my archived pages from my 2025 and my 2024 and my little liminal Filofax that I set up a few weeks ago. And now we're going to move all of the future inserts into the diary and archive all the old pages into binder rings. And I'm also going to take you through setting up my January dashboard as well, and putting together my reading list pages and my goal tracking pages for the year ahead. This is just an example of some of the old diaries that I've archived in the past. In fact, this is every old diary that I've archived in the past. They look great, don't they? And it's so useful to go back through them. So I'm just going to skip into 2 times speed now, because I'm not going to lie, some of this was absolutely agonizing. Have you ever tried to fit binder rings through the fattest stack of inserts? I nearly went crazy. I had to take the audio out of this video as well, because there were times when I swore bloody murder in trying to get these blimmin' rings through these inserts. So I've saved you there with that little edit. So at this point, I'm just taking out all of my new pages from the binder rings. I think I put a good chunk of months into my liminal Filofax. I think I put through to March in the diary, and then I had dates from December back to September. Just for that small portion of the year where you're kind of in between years. I usually visit the dentist in December for my twice yearly checkup, and they're always booking me in for the future, and I never have a diary ready to take note of the date. So I started doing a liminal setup just for that weird in-between period. So that's what we're kind of trying to sort through at the moment here. And as you can see, I'm having to put these pages in section by section, because, I mean, doing a day on a page in Filofax insert layout, it just means that you end up with 1,000 pages. And obviously I didn't think about that when I made these custom inserts. I was just really excited to try a bit of a new system for 2025. And when they arrived and I saw how many there were, I just thought, holy crap, what have I done? If you want to see me make that very expensive mistake, you can watch my Shop With Me for Filofax inserts video. It'll probably be linked at the end. And that was me discarding the goals card that I made in the liminal setup video and swapping it out for a greeting card that my husband got me. I just thought it was a nicer card in the end, so I punched holes in it, and I'm going to use that for tracking my goals this year. I shouldn't really say goals, it's wins, which is why Never Forget You Are Magical just seemed like a really apt card to choose. And that's me just digging out some of the note paper. I bought this note paper years ago. I don't really make notes in my Filofax, so I kind of chip into this every year, just add a few pages here and there. I don't like to put all of them in at once because I never use all of them. And we're just going to set some of those aside to draw up our own inserts on later, namely the book tracker and the goal tracker, because I've never quite found any pre-made inserts that fit the job. A lot of the book tracking inserts I've seen before really don't have a lot of space for you to write the title and the author, and I ended up kind of with a really cramped looking page where I couldn't figure out what I'd written, what I'd read, so I just decided to make my own, and yeah, it worked quite well for me. I really should look into getting an insert designer or something, maybe trying to do it on Canva. I don't know how it works. God, look at me struggling with these pages already. It's really going to leave me in kind of a situation at the end of the year. If this system really does work for me, I'm going to have to contend with this many pages. Maybe I'll even need to streamline down even further and get rid of another section in the diary. Okay, little sip of tea, and then we're going to pack up all of the old inserts and archive them into the binder rings. I'm just getting everything in order here. You can see the notes to my mum that I've got there. That's a practice that I've really enjoyed doing this year. Is enjoy the right word? I don't know. For those of you who don't know, my mum passed away a few years ago, and this year I started using the notes section of my Filofax to write down anything that I would have texted to her or phoned to tell her, or anything that we would have talked about, you know, when we meet up or whatever. And I just find that when someone passes away, you've got loads of things that you would want to tell them if they were still here, and that stuff has nowhere to go, and I needed somewhere to put it, I suppose. So I would just note it down in my Filofax. And I had an idea that maybe I was going to burn those pages on Samhain, Halloween, for those who don't practice the craft. Usually in my family we burn letters to our ancestors. We write them out privately, and then we would all throw them into the cauldron as part of our family ritual. And I had an idea that I was going to burn these pages on Samhain, but I never did. I kind of just want to hold on to them for a little bit longer. Maybe I'll burn them all this Halloween, I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely a practice that really helped me move through my grief, because there's a lot of stuff she was my mum, so there's a lot of stuff that I would have wanted to tell her. For example, I got my hair permed this year, and she had very, very curly hair naturally, and she fucking hated it. So the fact I got a perm, she would just be she would be incredulous. I had to write it down. I was like, Mum, you'll never guess what. I got a perm. Oh my God. It's such a shame because her hair was gorgeous. Me and my sister would love to have curly hair naturally, but I guess it's always what you don't have, isn't it, that you want. So yeah, I'm definitely going to carry that practice on, and we'll see where it goes. God, watch me put these blooming binder rings in. It's agonising. Although once they're in and the diary's been archived, they don't come out again. You can buy them on Amazon, and what's great about this is that you can buy them in a job lot. There's loads of them in a bag. I've still got hundreds left, and I bought these years ago. So, it's worth the money. I really don't know that I need to keep every archived Filofax I've ever had. But it's one of those things, isn't it? You just know as soon as you get rid of it, you're going to need it for some reason. I really could have edited this out, couldn't I? Are you getting frustrated? I was at the time, I don't know if you can tell. Luckily, doing it on 2x speed means you can't really see how truly frustrated I was. I'm so impatient and I've got such clumsy hands. Honestly. And also, when you've got long nails and they're natural nails, basically everything tries to break them off. So wrestling with those binder rings is not the one. Right, there we go. Now let's finesse 2025, shall we? Okay, so I think we are going to start. God, look at that. That's girthy. Very girthy. Right, so let's set up the book tracker, the goal tracker, and the January dashboard. Now, what I've cleverly omitted from this video is the 10 minutes I spent Tipexing over some of my 2025 dashboard inserts, because in my infinite wisdom, I decided I was going to number all of the pages up for January and February, looked at them, double checked that they were the right pages, plunged ahead with it, only to realise that they were in fact not the correct pages. January was not the one at the start of the deck, as it were, and so I had to Tipex all of it out. And I'd done it in pen like a bloody moron. So later on you're going to see some of those Tipexy pages. Just know I was incredibly annoyed with myself. We've all done it. And that's what you get for watching a video recorded and edited by a moron. So this is what it's going to look like. I'm just getting it out there just so that I can see for my reference how I did it. And it's super simple. We're just going to do a big old box. The lion's share of the real estate on this page will be for the author and the book title, and I take one line for the book title, and then the line below it will be where I record the author's name, and then that little square on the far right edge is where I record B for book, A for Audible, or K for Kindle, just so that I know where I read that title and where I can find that book in future. And then what I'll do is I'll highlight the name of the book, so it's really easy. When I glance at the page, I can see exactly what the book is called. And that's just how I like it. Lots of space, lots of room. You can add more pages, you're not restricted. I think I managed to do 2 sides of an insert this year, which isn't great, but it's not shit. I've been going through a bit of a reading slump for the last few years, so even if I can read, a handful of books a year, better than 0, isn't it? And now we're going to look at the goal page, which I also write up myself. I did buy some goal tracking inserts a few years ago, but they were really, really granular, and obviously that's helpful for some people. For some people it's not enough to set a goal. You need to have action points, deadlines, kind of step by step to help you get there. But I am a Libra sun and a Virgo rising, which means I'm a perfectionist. I am incredibly self-judgmental, and I'm really organised and driven, which sounds good on paper, I guess, but it also means that I'm a real taskmaster to myself. So what I've started doing is setting really broad, open goals for myself, and never more than kind of, I don't know how many's here, like what, 4, 5? And they're never things you have to do. It's all things that I want to do, that benefit me, that are nice to do. There's never going to be a goal in there that's like, lose half a stone, or fucking do this or do that. It's not a mandate. It's not, I'm not going to bully myself. If I don't like a goal or don't want to do a goal, I'm not going to end up doing it, am I? So it's pointless. So what you'll see on here are goals like enjoy more creativity, which is something that I set myself in 2024, and I loved every minute of it. And because it's such a broad goal, I can interpret it however I want. It can mean, it's much more vast in its meaning, and I find that really exciting. I don't feel restricted by it, I feel motivated. And so enjoying more creativity, like some of the things I did was I started using collage in other areas of life, like making phone cases, Kindle cases, decorating the fronts of notebooks. I also bought an art book that I could do collage in. I invested in some acrylic paints to kind of take the collage to the next level. I started doing creative field trips once a month as part of my business, which was fantastic. And it basically meant that I was allowed to take myself to a gallery or an exhibition or the opera or whatever I wanted to do every month, just to expand my creativity and enjoy more creativity. I tried pottery as well. I did more knitting. I learned crochet. I made a ton of stuff. It was really great. It was so exciting. I made a sun catcher out of some chandelier pieces that I bought in a secondhand shop. Just loads of stuff like that. It's been really fun. So as you can see, I want to do more community activities in 2025. Last year I took up pole dancing and I only managed to do 5 lessons before injuring my shoulder. And it's an injury that's the 3rd time that I've had it. And the osteo told me that probably hanging my whole body weight off of my arm was not the one. So that was short-lived. So this year I'm looking at new ways to kind of go out there and socialise a bit more and do something fun. So watch this space on that, I guess. And now we've got to try and fit these blooming pages in. One by one. And now I've got to do my dashboard. My dashboard that's covered in Tipp-Ex. Don't tell anyone. And if you notice it, just be really nice in the comments about it and just, be like, oh, I didn't see any Tipp-Ex. What are you talking about? These pages still look pristine. I don't mind being gaslighted if I've requested it myself. Now, what's magical about this section of the video is that basically absolutely everything goes wrong, but hopefully you won't be able to tell. You see this nice long sticker that I really needed to use? Well, actually I stuck it down in the wrong place, tried to pull it up and ruined the sticker, so then I couldn't use it, and it was the last one that I had. But you know what, we persevere, don't we? And we used the fat rectangles instead of the big one. Look at that. Boo. Moron. What's funny is I actually thought I cut that bit out, and I didn't, but it's in there now and you've seen it, so I mean, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to tell you. Sorry. Let's get rid of that. Yeah, alright, we all see you made a mistake. Don't worry, girl, get on with it, you're alright. And I'm just going to Tipp-Ex these out. Usually I cover them over with a sticker, but apparently Tipp-Ex is the product of the video. It's the main feature. So we're just going to use a little bit of that until we get more labels. This is my washi tape and sticker case. It was an impulse purchase from the range. I love glitter. I love holographic. I couldn't resist it. It was like £2. My washi tape needed a home. My stickers needed a home. It was a no-brainer. I love this thing, honestly. And this is just me having a little look through the stickers that I already have, just to see if anything catches my eye for the theme that I was thinking of for the January dash. I tend to use like quite cool colours for the winter months, just so that it's got the right feel to it. And so I think for this design I was wanting kind of lilac, blue, maybe. And I'm just going through these stickers to see if anything jumps out at me for that theme and will fit on the page. I'll pop down in the description box some of my favourite places on Etsy to shop for stickers, just so that you know if you see any of these that you quite like. Chances are I'll have it linked below. I'm a huge fan of Guts and Glitter. I'll buy anything that chick sells in her shop, honestly. This is also before I got my stickers for Christmas as well. I was gifted some stickers by my sister-in-law and by my partner, which was really nice. I like to put a couple of stickers on my Christmas wish list just for people who want to give like small little things or stocking fillers or something. I'm a very considerate gift person. And look at all these, Blumeneck. I got those for my birthday from my sister-in-law as well, because she gets it. She's a fellow crafter, she gets it. So she was like, oh, you want a washi tape? Have a box. Have a whole box full. I just picked a little ripped paper design. I love a ripped paper edge. I think it looks really great. So it's nice that I've got a washi tape of that now as well. And this is me just jotting down the moon for the month, the January moon, and what it kind of symbolises and signifies. It's always nice to have the information just right there. And then on the right hand side, I include a section for books read in that month, which doesn't necessarily always work out because I tend to have maybe like 2 or 3 on the go at once across different formats. So I don't get through them as quickly as I would if I was just book monogamous. But who's book monogamous nowadays? Nobody is. You need a few different dalliances on the go at once, don't you? Really. Oh, and what's cute about this section actually is that I try to readjust the tape, try and trim it off, ends up ripping the paper. I don't know if Zaza Paper changed the paper that they used for the inserts this year, but it definitely felt a lot more flimsy. Like I was trying to peel off my washi tape and it was just peeling off the paper, and it never normally does that. So either it's this washi tape is ridiculously strong, or there's been a paper downgrade, or I'm just a dumbass, I don't know. Take your pick, I guess. Oh, my label maker. Me and my label maker, honestly. Do you know what? This was a leaving gift for my first office job that I ever had. And I was big into label makers, so they bought me one. And that's pretty much the nicest thing they ever did for me at that job. I'm not sure what I'm doing off camera at this moment. This is definitely something I should have cut out of the video, but I didn't. And now we're both stuck here together. Oh, she's back in. What are you doing, girl? You need to move your hands forward so they're on camera, babe. What are you up to? Oh, I know exactly what this is. I'm trying to peel the back off of the label maker sticker and it would not come off. And I absolutely lost my shit. Yeah, you didn't need to see this. This is painful. I actually give up and then come back to it, which is definitely what you should do if things get hard in life. There you go. If things get hard, give up. Come back again another day. Maybe it will work on that day instead. Also, doesn't it feel so good to just surrender and walk away and be like, fuck you. You don't own me, you're a fucking washi tape, you bitch. You know? I don't know. So this section at the bottom here is where I put my monthly tarot card. I do a 1 card draw every month to look at what I should be focusing on in that month, just to kind of give guidance, give a little bit of guidance, to kind of do a bit of spiritual orienteering, I guess. So that's where this is going to go, and it always goes down in this corner. I don't know why, it just does. And the section above it will be for my mastermind notes. So several years ago, one of our freelance members, I think his name was Jazz, I can't remember. Sorry, Jazz. He was like, oh, there's this thing called mastermind groups, and you meet up once a month, and it's an hour, and you take notes, and you all kind of share what you've been up to and what you struggled with and what was good and all this lot. And he divided us all into groups, and as far as I know, my group was the only group that ever actually met up, and it's been, I don't know, like 5 or 6 years, and we're still going strong. And there we go, that's me managing to peel the back off of that label maker sticker, thank God. Yeah, so I still meet up with my mastermind group every month, and I find it very helpful to note down the things that went well, the things that didn't, and the challenge that we set ourselves. We kind of set a monthly side quest, and it usually comes out of our discussion. So if there were any themes that we'd all struggled with in the month, or any patterns of things that really had bothered us all, we turn it into a little side quest and see if we can kind of get on top of it for the next month. And it's really nice. It's just a nice safe space to talk about the difficulties of being freelance and creative struggles, marketing struggles, you know, because we are one person businesses, and unless you talk to other freelancers, you don't know if there's a better way to do things, or a better mindset to have, or a more efficient way to run finances or admin or whatever. So it's just so helpful to have that time every month to discuss things. And it's so helpful that there's an entire section of my Filofax every month dedicated just to mastermind meetings. Because there's nothing worse than someone showing up to the meeting and not knowing what they're going to say. I like to know what I'm bringing to the table, literally. Just trimming that down all nice. It's already not the neatest one I've ever done, but I've actually noticed from looking back over my archive diaries that the January spread is always a bit fucked. So, you know, I'm not going to be mad at myself about it. It's a January tradition. Just trying to decide when, where, or if I'm going to use these stickers. And at this point, I think I decide to look through my collage book. I'm about to decide, after agonising over what colour trim to use at the top there. Oh, okay, just pop the trim down there. Off you go. The great thing about these collages and these kind of dashboards is that they just kind of take on their own personality. You just look at them bit by bit, and then just whatever's in there kind of makes itself known. And some months it's just effortlessly cohesive and it all comes out looking exactly as I'd wanted and looking perfect. And then some months it just seems to be its own thing, divorced from anything that I would have wanted it to be. And that's just creativity, isn't it? You've got to let it happen. You've got to allow yourself to be imperfect at times. And I think the more art you do, the more comfortable you get with that. So let's move these off and go through my scrapbook book. I like to do this because otherwise I end up with way too many magazines, and I could use one magazine for years and still find things to get out of it. But when I need to have a clear out, I usually go through and harvest all of the interesting elements and patterns that I would have used, and then I can throw the book away. So what you're seeing is all the little bits and bobs that I've squirreled away, and I'm just choosing a couple of pieces from here. My favourite things to save are fabrics and kind of wallpapers, as you can see here, like textures. I really love textures and fabric, flower displays, any kind of gem, visual opulence. That's what we're going for. Fun fact, I actually had those pearl earrings on my Christmas wish list for a while, just because I'd had that little cutout piece in my book for the longest time, and I kept looking at them, and it says right next to the thing where they're from, and I was like, oh, maybe I should get them, but I decided not to in the end. So I'm thinking that this kind of icy gem would be a lovely embellishment to put on here. I love to mix warm and cool tones, and I do that a lot in my fashion and in my makeup as well. I'm a really big fan of things like coral with periwinkle blue and scarlet with lilac and things like that. I also wear mixed metal jewellery as well, just because I love to not be limited. I think that if you go too matchy, it looks really contrived, whereas if you can kind of throw in some rogue elements that shouldn't work but do, the whole look just comes together. I love to be unexpected, and I love artwork that's unexpected and music that's unexpected. So I try and bring unexpected elements through into anything that I make as well. There's like this deer head. I don't know where it came from. I think that was from a Town and Country magazine or something. You know, one of those types of ones like Country Living or whatever they're called. I love magazines like that because they always have incredible wallpaper and fabrics, and my ultimate love, tassels. Tassels and fringing. I'll never get sick of it. I just love it. And you know, once I downloaded Bumble BFF to find a new kind of gal pal, and there was one girl on there, and I was like, oh, this is going to be my opener, right? So I was like, you know, tasseled garments, yes or no? And she was just like, what the fuck? And I was like, okay, it's never going to work. If your answer to tasseled garments, is what the fuck, then it was over before it began, wasn't it? I mean, you don't have to wear tasseled garments to be my friend, but you at least have to understand the majesty of a tassel. You know, just understand it, just appreciate it. You don't have to get involved, you just have to recognize. Now, these flowers don't necessarily go with the layout, but at this point I decided to say, fuck it, why not? Why not? There's always going to be something very inherently girly and feminine and frilly and floaty about the art that I make. And that is because ever since I was a kid, I've just been obsessed with femininity, you know, like the most girly version of something was the version that I wanted to have. The most elegant, glittery, over-the-top thing. I just love it. And you know, as an adult woman, I can own that and wear that if I want to, and no one can tell me no. And that's the revelation that you get when you kind of start to near the age of 40. You realise that actually nobody can stop you. No one can stop you. If that's what you want to do, who's going to stop you? Who's going to say something? Well, probably everyone's going to say something, but does it really matter? Who are they anyway? You know, pie them all off and just be extra and let them be basic. That's my Marie Antoinette-esque quote for you in this video. Let them be basic. And we can go out there and wear, you know, an Ariana Grande style tiered ruffle outfit just to go out. Yeah, see, it does work somehow, those flowers, but it shouldn't really. Normally I try not to stick anything down until I've got rough placements for everything, but in this video I was just getting really annoyed, all of my bits kind of not staying where I wanted them to be. So I thought, you know, stick them down. Hashtag YOLO. And I love a Pritt stick as well, because once you stick something, you can almost drag it to reposition it. Make sure you're doing that obviously before the glue sets. But until that point, you drag it about a bit. This seems good, doesn't it? Yet not good enough, because we're about to change it a little bit. If you end up buying those earrings, let me know. Because they're great, aren't they? Very bougie. The left-hand page always gets neglected just because it's a very functional page. There's a lot of places on there that really need space to be usable. But on the right-hand page, it's every man for himself, basically. I haven't let myself a lot of space to write in those sections, but I don't really care. Like, it's fine. Feasibly, how much am I going to write there anyway? Do you know what I mean? I'd rather have the page look, you know, the most, and have slightly less space to write things down. I've decided against these two pieces now, I'm pretty sure. I know I'm still going through the charade of placing the 4-leaf clover down. I don't think I ended up using it. This is the second Van Cleef embellishment that I've used on a monthly dashboard. Is it Van Cleef? Van Cleef and Arpels? I don't know. But that swoopy chain, I had the other half of it, which I used for something else, which just shows you how much mileage you can get out of stuff in magazines. That's why I love bag chains. If there's a bag in there with a really long chain strap, I can get quite a lot of mileage out of a piece of chain. I really like how that looks. It's so like bougie gothic to have a piece of gold chain. I love it. I'm also a real sucker for strands of pearls, and they always have really fantastic ones in Chanel adverts. Strings of pearls that you can kind of cut out and loop across your artwork. I love it. It's worth buying a copy of Vogue just to get my hands on some Chanel pearls. And there we go, just securing that down and trimming it up nicely. perf, wouldn't you say? And of course we couldn't finish this up without adding some stick-on gems. I rescued these adhesive pearls from a craft shop in my town that was shutting down. I kind of went in and just bought as much as I could to help them move their stock, but also making sure I was buying stuff I was actually going to use. And stuff like this, little adhesive pearls, definitely going to use that. It adds a significant bulk to the diary by the end of the year if you're using stick-on gems and pearls and stuff, but well, we've already got the fattest Filofax ever for 2025, so what's a few more stick-on gems, you know? There we go. And so I'm pretty sure now I'm in the process of packing up all of my scrapbook paraphernalia, and we're going to do the final diary setup. Don't forget to put the cap back on your Pritt stick, because that little sucker will dry out faster than you can say, my Pritt stick's fucking dried out. I love to use these erasable highlighters to add pops of colour to anything that I've written down. I mean, you've probably seen me doing it throughout the whole setup video, but so good, so useful. I can't remember off the top of my head what brand they are, but they're fab. Okay. And now, obviously, because there are so many inserts, we're going to have to go from the middle of the book, take everything out, put these in, and now go section by section, putting them all back on the rings again. It's long, mate, it is long. And now I'm just going to quickly take a minute to draw out the sigils that I made for my Filofax. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, sigils are magical symbols. Pretty sure they were invented by Austin Osman Spare after he split from Aleister Crowley's organisation. And Spare's symbols don't look anything like this, but as part of his magical discipline, he's all like, whatever resonates, take what resonates, you know, freestyle. And that's exactly what this is. So I've got one sigil for protection and one sigil to help my Filofax achieve its purpose. And I draw these into every diary that I've had. And that's just my little tradition. Just to make sure that the diary always stays safe, because for any newcomers here who may not know, this particular Filofax, which is a personal sized Finsbury, was a Christmas present from my mum back in 2008, maybe 7. I don't know. I've had it for years. That's why it looks so rough. And if anything happened to it, oh my god, I don't even like to entertain. The Filofax rarely leaves my house anymore because I'm too scared of it being stolen with my bag, you know. If it's in my bag and my bag is stolen, then that's heartbreaking. So the Filofax rarely leaves the house, and if I'm off somewhere and I know I'll need to check dates, I take photos of the pages so that I can book things in, and then I come home and write them into the diary separately. And yet that's not a very convenient, efficient way to do things, but at this point I've become emotionally attached to this diary, and the thought of it being stolen or lost or broken is just not a thought I wish to entertain. so the diary stays at home. And here she is, cover page and monthly dash, my pages that, well, I'm going to get there in a sec. Oh, spare note pages, because why not? And then I've got a page a day, and those pages are split with dates, times down the left hand side and space for a to-do list on the right hand side. And now we've got a notes section and wins for the year card, reading list, goal tracker, and my bills section at the back. And I always keep a little pencil in there because some people cannot be trusted to make dates that they don't break, and they never get to use the pen. And there we go. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in a few months and we'll do a little a catch up. Take care and have a great year.